Yeah, so let's start with your name, and please tell me where you are exactly now, and present yourself briefly. We will come back to it later.
Well, my name is Lena. I live in Belarus, in Minsk city. I was born here in Belarus, and I feel myself very much patriotic. I'm a Gestalt therapist and also a co-founder of Minsk Gestalt Institute. That's my main affiliation for today, but I'm also engaged in many different social projects and many human rights activities here in Belarus and abroad.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, we obviously started before the recording to speak a little bit about your context and the situation in Belarus. And I wonder, because you mentioned human rights movements and organizations, how long have you been involved in these kinds of movements?
As long as I remember myself as a citizen, and I think it started already at school. I had deep interests to different kind of movements, women's movements, and so I asked many questions, people around me, and I also read some stories from about activism abroad, and I got inspired in the university by my teachers as well, and it happened so that I was engaged in different international activities because my basic education is translation. And so I volunteered as a translator for different international conferences. And first conference, it was about women's movements and feminism. So, and it's touched me a lot. And I was very much inspired by those adult women participated in that conference. And I joined a women's organization, non-governmental organization, and then I went deeper into different type of gender studies and women's projects. And my first job as a psychologist was at women's shelter for victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm. 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 And you also mentioned in the very first words that you consider yourself a patriot. Have I understood it?
Yeah, because I lived many years in the dilemma to stay here or not, but it's already not my dilemma, but my mother who lives in the US. And my sister also, so they live there, and so they definitely want me to join them there. And my mother is especially pushy in this way, so she stopped actually several years ago already her activity in this way. But before, it was really difficult for me because she couldn't understand what's the point to stay in difficult conditions and always keep struggling with the system, with whatever, because life is not easy here. And when I go to US, usually before the coronavirus, I went there every summer. First, I feel quite happy because I'm relaxed for a couple of weeks, and then I really don't understand what to do because everything is so calm, very slow. She lives in Florida, and it's so the sun is shining, the ocean is beautiful. So it feels too much unrealistic for me, and I can't really enjoy it actually. So that's the issue. And I'm also very much engaged into relations, and I make new relations quite easy. So I definitely.
Lena, I can't see your video. It's missing.
Okay.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay, now. Yeah. Can you repeat, because there was some interruption in the internet connection. You said you also are.
I forgot what we were talking about US, right?
Yes, and about yes, and it was just in response to my question about your patriotism, and
yeah. So I feel very much connected to my country and to people around here. I have, even when I get many new and really great friends abroad, I still miss something special about Belarusians. And even when I met Belarusians abroad, living there for some 10 or 15 years, I don't know if it's really true, but at least what I experience in relations with them there, that's they became different too much for me. And so I don't know if it's very much about my patriotism, but something about really important things of myself.
Yes, this is this is relevant as far as I am concerned. And if you were to say more about your values, the values, the most important qualities of yourself as a human being, besides those you already mentioned, in a way, what would that be?
Values. I value a lot openness. And I value very much freedom, and it doesn't matter where, in what field. I value freedom in general and in particular. So I mean, political, social, sexual freedom. So I'm definitely for diversity and the possibility to have choices for everyone. It doesn't matter what person do and where he or she lives. Then what is especially important right here in Belarus and right now for me is the value of feeling you as a Belarusian, and that's what makes me joining those brave Belarusians every weekend who are trying their best, really their best, to change the life for the better here in their country. And that feeling is very special for me these days. Already not days, but it's yesterday it was the 8th Sunday of protests in Belarus since elections happened August the 9th. So it's already quite a long period, but it's a very, very new and exciting experience for me, because I was a school pupil when the current regime started here in Belarus, and actually all my life, when I was at the university, when I was trying myself in several fields, and in social fields and psychology fields. So I always faced obstacles and challenges created by the current regime. And so I always met limitations.
Mhm.
And it's made me suffering a lot. And so, and finally, during the last weeks, something new happened, what has never happened in my relatively adult life before. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm happy and unhappy living right now and right here. Happy because this new experience has appeared in my life, and unhappy because it's quite risky, and when you go outdoors, you cannot be sure what can happen to you, and if you really will be able to come home to see your kids. And vice versa, when you're at home, you are always you also don't feel safe enough, because there are many examples also among my close ones who had unwanted visitors to their apartments and unfortunately were arrested. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's happens, and unfortunately it became already part of our reality. And the biggest challenge in this reality is not that risk, but the biggest challenge is uncertainty, because we do what we can do, but we don't know, and we don't really see the nearest solution in this situation.
Okay, and yeah, it is. Yeah, it is heavy, of course, and but I would like you nevertheless to continue to speak about yourself. If you would like to mention anything else in terms of your values.
Yeah, but okay, I will continue about myself, but I just want to mention that when I say we do what we can, so this we is something very new for Belarusians. And for me, feeling myself as a we here in Belarus, it means a lot. Okay. It means very much. So it's the biggest value for me right now, these days. Okay,
now I understood it even more. Thanks for this, additional expression in a way. Yes, we. Yeah, I can understand it very well as a Polish citizen here. We was really like back in the past, in the, I don't know, 17th century or so, almost. What I'm trying to say is that, that I understand this we. And I can also feel how moving it is for you, this transformation from to we, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And this we is also felt not only nationally here inside of the country, but also internationally, because these days we got so many messages of support from colleagues of all countries around and faraway countries, from US, from Scandinavian countries, from Poland, definitely, from Lithuania. So, and our colleagues, so they not only express their ways, their words of support, and give some inspiration, but they also suggest some kind of help, like supervision, different training, and they just want us to feel better in this difficult crisis period. So, and this we is really a miracle, a very big gift for us. Yeah, and coming back to the issue of my other values, so definitely family and kids. This is my big value. I love my both sons. I have a 4-year-old son and a 16-year-old son. So it's a quite big difference between them, but I enjoy both ages.
Okay, yeah. And what are their names?
The eldest is Daniel, and the youngest is Miron.
Miro.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So. Yeah, and you mentioned also that your sister, so she's living there with your brother, or like in the US. Have you got more sisters, brothers, or?
No, I don't. Just one sister.
Okay. And she lives abroad.
Yeah.
And what are your passions, Lena? Then, and this is also, yeah, a question.
I'm very much passionate about fighting for social justice, and I have initiated and implemented maybe hundreds already of different type of projects aimed at different social vulnerable groups. So I started with drug addicted people, and then I spent a couple of years working for those people in prison and released, and then I was a leader of community of people living with HIV, and I organized a national network of HIV positive people here in Belarus. I was a voice of civil society in several international working groups, and so I'm always in some kind of activity. I can't just do regular job. I like my work as a psychologist, but from time to time, I feel that I have too much energy and I need to use it in a constructive way for the benefit of people who can accept it and who really need it. So currently I'm coordinating a help line for those who suffered from violence during the last weeks. And what we do, we provide psychological support to them. And so I'm professionally and personally very much engaged into containing of feelings and emotions people have. So then in many cases, the level of anxiety is very high. Anxiety and many existential issues arise, like who I am, or what I do as a person, as a citizen. And these issues are also very much passionate for me. I'm always in the process of existential search, who I am, what I'm doing here, and stuff like this. So several years I worked in an ecumenical organization. It was affiliated by World Council of Churches, and actually the nearest office was based in Poland, in Białystok. So yeah, I went to Poland quite often. So that's it about my passions. I also definitely like traveling and meeting new people, and I like very much intercultural communications. I like to see the differences among people, among cultures, among genders, and I like this process of meeting the other with your difference and finding similarities through these differences. So it's a great process. I'm very much curious how things go in different contexts and in different lives.
And all that you are mentioning now about yourself, I wonder how would you explain what circumstances made you the way you are now in the world? What kind of people, maybe, if you like to mention? Yeah.
Definitely, my parents made great contribution, and definitely my teachers, and so the list of people who influenced on me is really very long. The closest one actually is the person whom you know as well. For example, yesterday we made a lecture together with Dieter Bonkers from Switzerland. Yeah. So I met him through my EIGT activity in through contacts with the Human Rights and Social Responsibility Committee. So, and yesterday the lecture was about male identity. So Dieter has become also a very important person for me, and we decided a year ago to start a special training Gestalt program together with him. So this is a program about gender identity and sexual diversity, Gestalt approach. And we have got a group of participants of 25 and even more, but unfortunately we had to postpone 3 times already because of coronavirus. Then now it's not only coronavirus but also the political situation, and this weekend I was very much inspired that finally Dieter is coming, but then suddenly the flights were not accessible anymore because of coronavirus, and so the way to go to enter here became very difficult, and also from Russian participants from Moscow it became impossible to come here. And it was pretty frustrating that it couldn't happen as it was planned, and especially in this circumstances we live right now, it would be for me very inspiring event to work together with a person who is valuable for me and whom I feel as a source of inspiration for my not only activism but just in general for life, existential inspiration from Dieter. Yeah, but anyway, it was great that we decided still to meet at least online. So we invited participants, we invited volunteers of our social projects, and it was a very interesting lecture about a topic what is quite far away from the current situation we live in right now. So we also had this discussion among my friends and colleagues. Is it in general possible to start a program about sexuality in the circumstances all people live right now? And finally we come to the conclusion that yes, it's really the time, and it's good to speak about sex, about whatever, because otherwise we will get too much exhausted from anxiety around. So, and it really worked yesterday, and yeah, so I feel very excited, and I dream that finally next time our program will start. So, and it will be a new process for me, and I have no doubt that some new meetings with new people and with their experiences will make me feel inspired and excited. So that's what I'm very much passionate about. Maybe not about topics so much, but definitely there are topics of my interest more than others. But I'm more excited about people. I love meeting great people, and I'm very much happy that there are many around me.
Yeah, and well, my question was generally around what kind of people influenced you, but do you think that living in your country, the history, culture of your country also shaped you? Of course, shaped you, but yeah, I imagine that it has also influenced you a lot in the ways you described a moment ago.
Yeah, definitely, yes. Context definitely influence anyone. So
yeah, it is interesting that yeah. That some people decide to stay and some people decide to leave the country. Yeah, different existential paths, I would say. I don't think it's a place here to judge anyone. I believe. I don't know what's your perspective here.
We experience many difficult moments of social separation at different levels, at the level of friends, at the level of participants of our training programs and clients. And it's interesting that when coronavirus epidemics started, so we got this separation in communication, because in our country many people followed official approach, and so they did not recognize the real risk of coronavirus, and that's why they lived normal life with no special measures. And other people who were more realistic and learned more about the virus itself and so on. So they took special measures, and that's how the society got separated. And those people who took special measures, so they tried not to communicate, not to meet the others. And then after the situation became a bit better with coronavirus, so the elections took place, and then people started to get separated into because of their political attitudes, and it happened. Everything happened in quite short period of time, and we really not prepared. Like, we don't have answers to many questions, like, for example, when as a psychologist I need, or I expected at least, to be neutral and provide care to one side and to the other side, just thinking about the best for this person in front of you. But from the other side, I'm also a human being, and I understand that I cannot provide any care, and I cannot be useful, at least right now, for certain people who are engaged in violence. And so it's splitted, very much splitted, not only at the level of actions, but also the level of attitudes, because many people support those who abuse others because they feel that it makes them feeling safer. So that's why it's a difficult question. I'm making a workshop at the nearest conference about this issue. So I'm still in the process of finding answers, at least for myself, because I can orient at my feelings and asking myself what I feel right now when this question arises. But in some cases, I have also very many polarities inside. Like, for example, when parents who work in the police service asked me to take care of their children and to get them into a special vacation program for children. So it was a very difficult issue for me, because to accept them or not, and when it deals about children, so it's even more difficult than about adults. So it took me several days to find an answer, at least for this particular case. And it was not an easy process, because I got into conflict with my professional values and my social and civic. So
yeah. Oh, it's like, yeah, as you mentioned, it is a very important, this, and again, very heavy issue of this separation, polarity, split within the greater society, and of course it reflects your own polarities. Mm, uh, mm. I mean, myself experience suffering coming from the split we observe in our society, our nation here in Poland. But back there in your country, the situation is even more intensified, no? Amplified, if you like. And yeah, so I can base on my experience here. I can understand it through here how society is divided, has been divided for decades now, but now the divisions are even stronger.
Yes.
What about now Gestalt therapy, Gestalt world? How did you find yourself here, there, whatever? How did you come to Gestalt therapy?
I came to Gestalt therapy through people. So actually, in my country, among different approaches, Gestalt approach is the most popular. So there are many people in this field who are either trainers or counselors, and they practice Gestalt approach. So it was not difficult to find them, but I was not looking for specific approach. I was before I came to Gestalt therapy, I got training in psychoanalysis, in existential therapy, some other different type of trainings. I remember Enneagram. I brought Enneagram people to Belarus and organized first trainings here in Belarus. So, but then I liked the community, professional community of Gestalt therapists, and I liked the value of relations and the way they cared about each other. So that's what attracted me mostly. And then I met a person who became my closest friend, and currently she is the director of our institute, of Minsk Gestalt Institute, and we just enjoyed doing something together. So we did several projects, different international trainers came here to teach about theory of self, about psychosomatics, about different other issues. And I got enjoying this process of being among people who do not suffer, because before that my background is mostly about vulnerable social groups who always live in very difficult conditions and who often meet impossibility and helplessness, and it became already exhausting for me, because I started to feel that there is no way to live better here and now. And then when I appeared to be in Gestalt community, I saw many happy people, and first I was a bit surprised, like, So they even those who are not economically sustainable, so they get excited from each other, from contacting, from a seminar about theory of self, for example, and I became curious how it works for them. So that's curiosity brought me deeper and deeper into the community, and finally I became one of 4 founders of Minsk Gestalt Institute. So I'm responsible more for international projects and also for summer school, what we do annually for 100 participants. And that's where I am right now. I like it, but I still miss intercultural communication. I still miss some international brevity or European brevity regarding political engagement of a psychologist. I feel that I'm not supported enough with my civic activism, and I still hear often that psychotherapy and politics are not going together. So these are different issues, and psychologists need to be not interfered into any political context and so on. So that's make me feeling surprised from one side, and from the other side alone. And sometimes the solitude makes me feel a bit desperate, because I can't understand how any profession can be out of politics if you anyway, being a psychologist, you're still a citizen and things like that. So that's where I am.
Yeah, I mean, we can obviously find many arguments for this. Yeah, for the necessity to marry those 2 fields, psychotherapy and politics, but we don't need to even look for arguments now, because what you have described so far reflects very well that this is intertwined. These are intertwined in your life, and it's well, of course, it's by your choice, but it is inevitable if you, I don't know, in your situation now. It's so obvious. You know, I can understand arguments of another side. You know, sometimes which I disagree, to be frank, and. Yes, but when you mentioned those how to put it? Yeah, because often therapists, I mean Gestalt therapists, they want to find themselves in this middle mode, no, in this and see those polarities, but be in this middle mode. Yeah, I mean, how? Having heard and having listened to you, how would that be possible? No, it's
Yeah.
Where would that bring us? I don't know. I don't. I mean, the theory says it is bringing us to the next step, this kind of middle mode. But when? Yeah, do you understand me? Does it make sense to you what I'm? Yeah, it sounds yeah, as an impasse really. But anyway, I understand, and I hear your solitude here. Yeah. Mm.
So in order to satisfy my needs for support, so I'm engaged in several committees. I'm a member of AAGT committee on regional development, and I'm also engaged into some communications of Human Rights and Social Responsibility Committee of EAGT.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I meet discussions and energy, what is not enough for me here in Belarusian Gestalt community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and currently, I would say that I'm quite happy with the way I have arranged it, and I got adherent creatively. So
yeah, I understand that you you have reached out and you got support, but my sociological part says here how difficult it is for an individual to be always, you know, actively searching why the hell isn't it possible for, you know, for the group to reach out for individuals. It's really like the times we are living now. It's exhausting, as you've been mentioning here many times in this conversation. So yeah, so sometimes, you know, I am really proud of individuals, and it's so inspiring to be listening to you. And at the same time, I would like it not to be so difficult, and so, you know, that the whole the burden is on individuals. Yeah, they get support. It's fantastic, and it's great, but so much energy, yeah, from individuals, and some they don't have it. You know it maybe better than I do. Yeah, just sorry, I get, you know, passionate now myself, of course. But can you say more about this program you mentioned when we texted one another about LGBT people? Can you say more about its background? How did that all start?
Yeah, the background is that I got engaged in LGBT community here in Belarus for over 10 years, and I also was engaged internationally into some projects, and I participated in LGBT marches in different cities in Washington DC, in I think in Brussels, in a number of cities, and so I always had this idea to do something for in this field and for these people. And when I joined Gestalt community here in Belarus, it was not an easy issue to talk about, and as soon as I'm a revolutionary by nature, so I decided that if not me, who will start? And as soon as I had many already talks about it with my colleagues, and I was not sure who can help me with it, because I understood that this person need to be brave enough, and this person need to be also in some kind authoritative, because my basic idea was not only to train Gestalt therapists here, but also to initiate some kind of advocacy for people with sexual diversities. And that's how the idea of a number of activities appeared, so that some advocacy roundtables with decision makers and training activities for specialists and some other community meetings and stuff. And I also got funding for this program from Dutch embassy, and unfortunately the government considered the program during several months and came to the conclusion that right now it does not correspond to the needs of Belarusians. And I had to transfer the funds back, and I had to exclude from my plans any advocacy events, because here in Belarus, illegal advocacy is something what not only risky and not safe, but also something what not working. And if we want to influence on sexological savings here in Belarus, so we have to get in touch with the current decision makers. So that's what is left in the program. Is left only those things what do not depend on the government, but depend on communication between institutes. And I'm very much grateful that my colleague and friend Dita Bongers, who appeared to be experienced enough and authoritative enough, so he supported me in all these plans from the very beginning. And so we decided to make a program first only for Russian-speaking Gestalt therapists and students, and the program consists of 5 training seminars on different aspects of sexual health, sexuality, love, LGBT specific features would help us to help them better. And also between these seminars, we plan to do support groups for participants in order to support the dynamics. And also there are requests for supervision of cases, how to work with LGBT clients. Actually, the issue of LGBT clients became more and more acute here, because people with non-heterosexual sexuality, they lost absolutely the trust to governmental services, and so they mostly go for support and counseling to private practitioners or to non-governmental sector. And it's really true that many specialists raised these issues, how to work with them, what to do, how to understand your own readiness as a professional. Can I work with such clients or not, because of my homophobic attitudes and stuff like that. So it looks like the field is ready for starting this project. And as soon as we announced it, quite quickly we got a request from Ukraine that, hey, why you are doing it only for Belarusians? Can you come to Ukraine and run the same? But we decided first to focus and to see how it will go to in Belarus, because even in our group in Minsk, there are several participants from Russia, Gestalt therapists, and yeah, and unfortunately, because of all this epidemic situation, and now foreigners are also scared of coming to Belarus because of political situation. So we have these problems with participants. They signed up for participation several months ago and very much motivated, but they couldn't come. Yeah. So that's our plan, and that's actually the program right now. What gives me more professional inspiration and more energy, because that's what I have been dreaming about for implementing many years, and these are the issues what are important for me, and I'm also very much happy that my partner and co-trainer Dieter also has psychoanalytic background, so, and I feel also excited when he shares some of his feedbacks. And like, for example, from yesterday lecture, I remember about his personal stories from the other sides of families who lived after Second World War. And we found many similarities. His father, he shared about his family, and we Belarusians here also suffered a lot from this war and still feel it. And even when we were against the Germans and the Russians, against each other, so right now the feelings what we have as children of those who participated in the war and grandchildren, so now we find many similarities in at the level of feelings and consequences. Yeah. So that's about the program. I'm happy that my institute supported this program, because it's not a usual one. It's here, yeah, here in Belarus, LGBT projects are considered to be political, because, yeah, and it's the connection is really strange that mostly LGBT people live in politically active countries, and so that's why, yeah. So it's not so much about sexual identity; it's some other strange connections. But it's a big responsibility for the organization to start something what can get focus, different focus from governmental structures. So I'm happy that I'm supported.
Yeah. Wow, it's yes. So yeah, the list of people who influence you is maybe long, but I don't know if it's not same long the list of your activities and your initiatives I guess.
But yeah, I would like to add that sometimes I am calm and sometimes I sleep, so everything is fine. So I just don't want to make an image that I'm constantly active.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm happy. Happy to hear.
So yeah, I live in a village. I like yeah. that's the way how I arrange balance in my life. So I don't like many people around me when I'm at home. So I live in the suburbs of Minsk, in a village. I have 2 dogs, a cat, my children with me, and I don't like loud sounds. So no music, no TV, just a fireplace and some beer.
Wow, good.
So
Oh, yeah.
no activism. Also, I do sometimes agricultural activism. So, and the elder I get, the more engaged I am in agricultural stuff, what makes me surprised.
Right.
Yeah, but
oh, it's such
so I'm very much good at planting cucumbers and pumpkins and eggplants, but what I'm not so good at is flowers. So every year I'm trying to plant flowers and to make a flower bed beautifully, but each year I lose, and so yeah. But every spring I make a decision that this year I will manage.
yeah, you will succeed. Oh, oh, it's yeah, it's good to hear. Yeah, I imagine it wouldn't be possible for you to be so active if you haven't enough, support or auto-regulation in the ground. I don't know how to put it. Okay, I wonder. Yeah, I guess I am okay if we finish here. Would you like to add anything that maybe you missed at some point, or are you okay with here?
Yeah, quite okay. I have so many points that's difficult to say that I have missed a point. So I'm made of many points, so it's fine. The ones we touched today probably are the most acute for here and now, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's what I imagine, and I have also some points, to actually to ask you and to inquire you, but back channel. Yeah, so I will. Yeah, of course we will be in touch, but but I will surely ask you about some of the things or suggest some things if you like. So thank you, thank you, Lena, for this interview.
Yeah,
Conversation.
thank you. Thank you.
So
See you.
yeah, so see you, and and in a moment, in fact, but I will send you a video. So thank you.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Okay. Yeah, bye.